Well, hello there, internets. This is DP Knudten, and I've got the wrong camera up, so I'm going to try to work that out. What? Hold on. Hello, internets. This is DP Knudten, and finally I got the right camera up. Oh, what a day it's been. I've heard that the Chinese word for danger is challenge and opportunity at the same time. I've also heard a proverb that has been attributed to the Chinese that is actually not a proverb so much as a curse. And that curse is, may you live in interesting times. Guess what? That's what we're doing right now. Interesting times. I mean, boy, last night was crazy. This is March 12th, 2020. And historians take note. Last night, it seemed to be the night that things went slightly off the rails when it comes to coronavirus. I mean, there was seriously some stuff going on before that, but within a 2-hour period last night, things just went crazy. And consequently, tonight's BOOKWARD BOUND is not going to be terribly long because it's been a long day, a long night. My daughter is coming back from the United Kingdom where she was studying at the University of Bristol. We were on the phone for 2 hours trying to get her flight changed from when she was due to come back. She's sitting at Heathrow right now, waiting for probably 8 to 12 hours for her flight. And needless to say, Mom and Dad are a little bit crazy about what's going on. Hey, Trezy, how are you, man? Good to see you. Crazy times here in Madison, Wisconsin, and the U.S. of A. My friend who's obviously watching right now, Trezy of Trezy Codes, he's actually the dude who got me interested in maybe doing a little bit of Twitch action, but this is also going to YouTube Live and Facebook Live. Because one day I met him at the thing I did not go to yesterday, 1 Million Cups in Madison, and he told me that he was going on Twitch and actually coding, developing in real time on Twitch. And I'm like, wait a minute. I know Twitch as a place where I go to watch Call of Duty players who are far better than me to try to find out how I can suck just that much less. Well, actually, there's a whole lot more going on Twitch, and Trezy was the dude to convince me that there is a value in going live on Twitch regardless of what you do. And so I started a while back actually editing my podcast, which I do every Saturday on Twitch, under the guise of a show called GarageBand Podcast Editing in Real Life 101. And frankly, that became a little tedious. So instead, after coming back from social media marketing world, I was inspired, or let's call it deluded enough to say, you know what I should do? I should write a new book. And you know what I should do? I should have it ready by January 1st, 2021, so that I can have it well in advance of social media marketing world next year. And then I said, you know what I should do? I should go on Google and figure out how many days are left in the year from the date that I started. And that number was 301 days. So I thought, can I get a book done in 301 days? And I know I can. But I went one step beyond and said, I know what I'll do. I'll do it live, maybe not the entire book live, but I will every day for 301 days go live on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Actually, I just added Twitch today, so Trezy, that's why you're seeing this today. I decided I'd go live and do something about the book moving what I call the book ball forward down the field just a little bit. And that's what I'm here to do tonight. Again, I say it's been a crazy day, and I probably am not going to be doing this a terribly long time tonight, but I do need to move that book ball down the field, even if it's just an inch, because I think one of the things that stops people from writing books is the sheer daunting task of it. The sheer, how do I get this done? I've got all these ideas in my head. How do I get them out of my head onto the page? And then if you're going to self-publish them, turn them into a book that someone might actually want to buy. How do you do that? Well, I'm going to show you my process. And I will tell you one thing for rock solid certain. I'm doing it entirely wrong. I mean that. Everything I do is the hard way. My dad used to say when I was a kid, David, if there's a hard way to do anything, you'll do it that way. And he's absolutely right, because I'm not one to crack open a manual. I'm not one to take a class. I'm not one to sign up for a workshop. Instead, I'm a DIYer across the board. I like to say that DP is DIY 24/7. And that's basically true. So anyway, enough of me blathering, other than to say, we live in interesting times. Let's take it to the big board and start working on this damn book. So, boom. What am I doing? I'm showing you the mind mapping software I use. It's called iThoughts X, and I'm Mac-based. So sorry, anybody on PCs. I can't really recommend anything software for you. But I will say that mind mapping is a fantastic tool when creating a book, because it allows you to take disparate ideas, get them on paper, and do stuff like this. Like, oh, I think I'll move that there. No, I think I want to go back where it was. Let's do a Command Z. I'm going to move it down here. No, let's move it back here. So it allows me to capture a whole boatload of ideas and then play with them on where I'm going to paste them. Now, if you watched last night or any of the other times that I've done this, you will have seen that I am going to be doing hey, Trezy, I've heard about mind mapping. Oh, my God. This is the value. Okay, I've got a ton of ideas, right? And if I think of them all at the same time, I'm dead meat. But take a look at that. Nonfiction Brandversity, the big idea of Nonfiction Brandversity. I have now created buckets, like a personal branding course, a content creation course, presentation topics, because I'll sit here and come up with an idea for a presentation topic and go, I got to remember that. So where do I plug it in? I plug it in right there. But look, if I'm not thinking about what my presentation topic should be, boom, get it out of the way. Put it into a deep storage, if you will, in your brain. It's still there. You can access it at any time, but you don't have to be blinded by it. So here, I've even got T-shirt slogans, for crying out loud. Yeah, and the flags here are telling me that, oh yeah, I've already created T-shirts for Brand Say, Cultures Do, Keep the Social and Social Media. By the way, they're available right now on Amazon.com. Just search Nonfiction Brandversity, and you'll see a number of options, including Brand Say, Cultures Do, Keep the Social in Social Media, Know Who You Are So You Can Be It, and also the Nonfiction Brandversity logo in a beautiful, wonderfully fitting tee, courtesy of Amazon merch. I think that's what it's called. Anyway, go to Amazon, search Nonfiction Brandversity, and you'll see them. They're $20. I think I get $3. It's not a big deal, but it's one of those things that helps me get my brand out there, because that is, after all, what nonfiction branding is about, right? Right. So anyway, back to the mind map. So got the T-shirts there. I've got a reading list of books that I'm supposed to be reading, or that I might be including in my book. In fact, that's what I have to do. I have to take this and plug it in to my book. Because under the practice, okay, so And again, my book is divided into 2, perhaps now 3 parts. The theory, where I talk about what personal branding is, what small business branding is, where it comes from. I'm able to capture the fact that that I was first exposed to it via Tom Peters' Fast Company article in the 1997 August issue of Fast Company magazine. Yeah, it's been around that long. And I've captured all these ideas under the theory part of it. But the second half of my book, or perhaps even a second book, which may be a workbook, is going to be the practice, which is all about how to do it. Things like video, the written word, audio, still images, yada, yada, ding dong, all that stuff. And then I have a note for the final chapter. I know what I'm going to write for the final chapter, which is not unusual. You know what you're going to write first. You know what you're going to write last. They're kind of the buns of your book hamburger. Now, what goes in that hamburger? That's the hard part of writing a book. So anyway, I've got these 2 sections, and then maybe as an addendum, I will include recommendations for books that readers might want to read further, things about creativity. 2 great books there, Hey Whipple, Squeeze This by Luke Sullivan and Everybody Writes by Ann Handley. General marketing books like Talk Triggers by Jay Baer or Rise of the Youpreneur. Ooh, I know what I have to add to that. Marketing Rebellion, and that's by Mark Schaefer. Excellent book. So you can see me coming on live tonight when I really didn't feel like doing it is actually giving me stuff to plug in to my mind map that will later find its way into the book. I didn't want to be here. But life is about showing up. What was it, the old Woody Allen quote? 80%, 90% of success is showing up. Or 90% of life. I think it's success. 90% of life is showing up. Anyway, that is the beauty of live streaming, my friend. Absolutely. In fact, that is so beautiful, I'm going to throw it up on screen. That's Trezy. By the way, if you're a developer who wants to see a high-level developer actually work and see the way they work, see the way their brain works, you got to check out Trezy Codes on Twitch. Hey, Trezy, what's your software stack? What's your language? What are you actually programming in so that all the many legions of people watching this live stream would at least have an idea of what you're doing and why they might be interested? Trezy will get back to me in a minute, and I'll be sure to share that with you. But anyway, going back to my mind map, let's see, what other books would I like to recommend, or other stuff? Podcasts, Entrepreneurs on Fire. I'm not a big fan of that, but that's okay. Podcast. Oh, I do not have. Oh, this is definitely the smart. Let me get that. The smart passive. Now, hey, anybody who's a fan of Markdown, the kind of pseudo language, you'll notice that for italics, we've got underscore, the Smart Passive Income Podcast. As soon as I stop typing, that's going to become, with Pat Flynn, that's going to become a very nice little looking italics. So again, with iThoughts X, you can use Markdown, which I've never bothered to learn. Sorry, man. Anyway, so I just came up with this thing. I had been creating this reading list for myself and to share with other people. And now I realize, oh my gosh, that would be a great value add to the book. Because it's not just me talking about blah, 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 blah. It's me also curating kind of the best books that can help people progress their personal brand or build their small business brand in an effective way, because there are a ton of books out there. But I will only recommend a handful as, this is the one you read. Like for advertising copywriters, there's only one book you need to read to have a successful, satisfactory career as an ad copywriter. And that is Hey Whipple, Squeeze This by Luke Sullivan. I first read that about 20 years ago, and it's still absolutely apropos. So highly recommended for anybody who wants to write copy professionally for advertising. Okay, so Trezy says, for all those amazing developers here, I'm building my stuff with JavaScript. Let me bring this up so everyone can see it. I build bots. I do artificial intelligence and machine learning. I build websites. I build Twitch extensions. Yeah, you just started one, right? I saw that in your feed. And whatever else strikes my fancy, I do my thing over at Trezy Codes on Twitch. See? I mean, and the whole thing is, if you want to learn the actual key commands or the semantics of a language or stuff like that, you'll pick that up. You'll absorb that osmotically. But what you'll get by watching Trezy is the way the dude thinks. And that's exactly what I'm doing here. If you're looking for the way to write a book, you're not going to get that. But you're going to see how I think and maybe take something away from that will enable you to get off your butt and actually start writing a book. Because let me tell you, that is the hardest part. And frankly, the reason why I made this dumbass commitment to go live every single day for 301 days. What kind of idiot does that? This kind of idiot. And I'm proud to say it. So let's get back to the mind map, shall we? I'm looking around my desk. Ooh, another great marketing book would be Content Chemistry by my friend Andy Cristodina. How good is it? It's in its 5th edition. I think that's a pretty good indication that it's a valuable book. Hey, Trezy, do you recommend resources to the people watching your live stream? Podcasts they should listen to, or books they should read, or courses they should take. I can't help but think that's a tremendous way for you to provide value to your listeners and your viewers. Amber Sweener. Hey, how are you, baby? Thanks. Great quality video, and I love that you can go between you and the camera and the desktop screen. Fancy. Oh, you know that for sure. And do you know how I can do that? Do you know how I can do that? I can do that because of a fine Macintosh program that I purchased myself. I have not had anybody offer to pay me or give me merch for anything. Everything I have, I bought myself. So how can I do this fun little stuff where, hi, I'm talking to my Hero Cam. Hi, I'm talking to my B Cam. Hi, I'm going to my Hero Cam with BOOKWARD BOUND 301 days to, I should really do this, to done. How do I do all these fun things? I have a program called Ecamm Live. And I first learned about this in 2018 when I went to Social Media Marketing World. And I met, I think their names are Ken and Glenn. I think they're twins. They sure look like it. But they're the developers and founders of Ecamm Live, and they developed this really great live streaming platform, or I would call it more audio visual capture system. Because here's the thing. If I want to, I can record this straight to my hard drive as video. Or I can live stream this like I am right now to restream.io, and it's automatically live streaming to YouTube Live, Twitch, and Facebook Live, my personal page. And by the way, I'm using the free account via restream.io. Yeah, I'm a little bit cheap. I have to be. I got 2 daughters in college and 1 more on the way very, very soon. And but anyway, Ecamm Live is fantastic because it allows me to get this really nice look where I've got soft focus background. I have basic lighting. I've got a key light there. I've got a hair light up behind me, and it's bouncing off a white wall to kind of give me a fill light over here. Those lights are newer lights, literally newer, N-E-W-E-R, LCD, LED. They're LED lights. They're like $100 for a pair of them. Really decent price for the quality. But the cool thing, the thing that sold me on Ecamm Live is the fact that I can look into my Canon 70D camera, which I already owned, and have a video feed live straight into my computer that can then be broadcast globally to anybody who might be deluded enough to watch my live stream. And it makes me look a little bit slicker. You know, I've got that cool background. The funny thing is, don't tell anybody this, but that nice kind of dark gray background, that's a bed sheet. Now, if I go to this one, you'll see that, hold on. You can see behind me a red or maroon. That's a bed sheet too, because I didn't want to take all the crap off my wall and paint my walls. I just took thumbtacks and put up bed sheets, and it looks great. I mean, okay, so this is my book, right? I typically have it right there. So Rotoma lady's looking right over my shoulder. And it's just, you know, and then this cam, when it's wide, as a matter of fact, I can go wide with it. Hold on, I just have to switch the camera source. You can see I've got guitars on the wall and all that stuff. I got my little framed ad work article that I got when I was a copywriter, my third week on the job. You know, a little bit of Flava Flav going on there to give people an idea of who I am, what I do, and how I do it, which happens to be the founding concept or the foundational concept of nonfiction branding. Ecamm Live allows me to do this. So if it looks good, thank you very much. And Amber, I really appreciate your point of view because I know you're a pro. You know what you're talking about. So thank you very much for that. And Trezy, thanks for all the help as well. And yeah, you are deluded, Trezy. But Trezy does say, I've been trying to compile the links for resources that I recommend. I'll be spinning up an email newsletter soon to help my audience keep track of the stuff I recommend. So frickin' smart. My wife and I were talking today, and I was telling her about, I got to do this again. But it was kind of cool that someone asked me what stuff I was using. And she said, oh, you should put links to that in your description of the videos. And I'm like, yeah, I should do that. I should list the equipment I have, then become an affiliate of Amazon so that if anybody said, ooh, I really like that look, and he's using Ecamm Live, link to Ecamm Live, if I'm an affiliate, I'll get that wonderful 2 cents or whatever it is. But I'm like, why didn't I think of that? And the answer is because you can't think of everything from the get. And that's why it's really helpful to have people like Amber, like Trezy, like my wife, who say, hey, have you thought about doing this? And I'm like, I had not thought about doing that. But guess what? I wouldn't have gotten that input had I not sat my butt in a chair, turned on the camera, learned how to do this, watched other people for best practices, and decided to become something more than 99% of people online. You know, one of the things I do in my presentations is I cite the ratio that everybody who talks about social media does, which is 90% of people online don't do anything. They're lurkers. 9% are likers, but that's all they do. They hit that like button. But only 1% are actually creators. Now, I tell people that all the time because it's really impactful, I think. You know, for someone like me who's a natural contrarian, if I find out that only 1% of humankind are doing something, I'm probably going to do it or at least try it. Well, that's what really got me going. You know, it got me off my butt into the first social media marketing world conference that I went to in 2018. It had been around for, I don't know, 8 years before that maybe. But I had only gone because a friend of mine, Chris Rudolph, who was working at the time at American Families Dream Bank here in Madison, Wisconsin, happened to mention that he was going. And I said, is it worth it? And he said, it's the best conference that I've ever gone to. It's the one I enjoy the most. And I'm like, maybe I should go. And boy, am I glad I did. You know, stuff like this came out of that. And I knew that was true after I came back from 2018. And the thing is, you go to social media marketing world, it's like drinking from a fire hose. You're totally blown away. So much stuff in your head, jam-packed in your head. And then about 6 months afterwards, I'm looking at it going, did I really get that much out of it? And I kind of did a mental look back. And I realized I was doing stuff every single day that I didn't even know about before social media marketing world. Yeah. And the thing is, last year, 2019, that was the year I started looking at live streaming and trying to find out what it was. So I went to see Loria Petrucci of Livestream Pros or Live Streaming Pros. I saw her speak and I'm like, huh. And she was talking about Twitch, and she explained the difference between video on like Facebook Live. Facebook Live, you know, maybe it's a half hour long. LinkedIn Live, maybe it's 15 minutes long. Twitch, maybe it's 12 hours long. And she said something I always remembered, which was, viewers on Twitch are there for a marathon. And I started watching Twitch and went, what does that really mean? And then I stumbled across Dr. Disrespect and went, oh. If you haven't seen Dr. Disrespect on Twitch and you're in marketing or media, you need to watch, because this guy is doing what broadcast media will be from now going on forward. Dr. Disrespect, a guy named literally Guy Beam, created this character, plays Call of Duty at a very high level. And I think he just got a multi-million-dollar deal with Twitch to stay on Twitch. Because while people like Ninja went to Mixer or other streaming services, Dr. Disrespect, I don't know this for sure, but I sense it. He was waiting to stay true to his date, but he wanted his date to pony up some cabbage. Well, he just got the deal, man, and I think it's in the millions of dollars. Twitch, huh? For me, I'm an old guy. Look, I'm an old guy. Why would I be interested in Twitch? Because that's where things are going. Turn off the 1 hour follower chat restriction on Twitch. It'll increase your engagement a lot. Nice. I didn't even know about this. Trezy, I will do that just for you. Anyway, I am so off topic, but I want to go back to the mind map and reveal that, yeah, I have significantly moved my book forward by taking a section that I wasn't even thinking about and plugging it in my book. And the thing is, if I do a regular, 5.5 by, 5.5 by 8.5. If I do a regular book like this and then a workbook that's more like content chemistry, which is, I think, 8 by 10, I can put that list of recommendations in both. Why not? And by the way, the people I'd be recommending, I could probably, and believe me, this is one of my strategies, I could say, hey, Andy Crestadina, I've included a reference to you in my book. Here's the PDF, and here's the page that your reference is on. Would it be okay for me to use this in my book? Now, tell me what person is going to say, no, I don't want you to reference me positively in your book? He's going to say, sure. And then I can follow up by saying, hey, and by the way, if you've read it and you like it and felt comfortable, could you give me a blurb for the book? That's how you get that great quote on the cover from someone who's respected saying, this is a pretty darn good book. Yeah. Anyway, that's one of the strategies as well. So, but Trezy, I will have to talk to you. You can do it at the bottom of the chat window. I just got a ping from somebody else complaining that you've got it on. Oh my God. Oh my Lord, you're killing me, Smalls. All right, so can I... See, I didn't even know it was on. I mean, when it comes to setting up my Twitch account, I'm flying blind, baby. It's just true. Hold on. Can I fix this on the fly?
Anger from Illinois on their T7 Inferno, and hopefully we get
connections, maybe? Where would it be? Help me out, Trezy. You're my only hope. Is it under connections? No, Steam, Facebook, Twitter. Other connections, Ecamm Live, Restream, MoveBot, which I haven't done anything with. Yeah, laughing out loud. 1 sec, I'm looking. Yeah, well, see, I got to make hay while the sun shines because I'll be honest with you. I did, I guess, probably about 8 live streams of me on a Saturday morning editing my podcast with a total number of viewers across 8 episodes of 0. So I'm not, I'll be honest, the fact that there are people actually responding here is a new thing for me. So Trezy's going to look. He's going to help me out on this. In the meantime, I'm going back to the book because I want to think about this. Creativity, marketing. I want to come up with a section called confidence. Because one of the biggest challenges for people in creating a personal brand is, you know, and I'm going to, get rid of that, is a thing called imposter syndrome. I'm sure there's a book out there that I don't know about yet that talks about it. I'm going to find one and plug it in there because confidence, the confidence to get on and sit there. And by the way, what script do I have for this? No script. And unfortunately, I do have a script helper called Kirkland Irish Whiskey. That's right. It's not Jameson. It's Kirkland. And you know where Kirkland comes from, right? The Costco. Oh, and by the way, the Costco. Oh, okay. Has anyone seen Steven? I think it's Steven Soderbergh's film Contagion. If you haven't, watch it because we're in like the about 45 minutes into that film right now. Anyway, Costco. My wife and I went to stock up on some stuff for the coming zombie/coronavirus apocalypse, and we were there. It was getting a little bit crazy. We got out of there just as the Sun Prairie Fire Department and EMTs and almost the entire police force showed up. Something happened. We didn't stick around because I was convinced that the zombies had breached the perimeter, and so we needed to get back to my house. But anyway, I get home, long day, and what better day for a little Kirkland Irish whiskey. Okay, now, here's a question for you, too. I know, or at least I've read, that Kirkland vodka is actually Grey Goose. It's the same stuff as Grey Goose, which is a premium vodka. I want to know what Kirkland Irish whiskey is. It's not Jameson. I know that because I can taste the difference. But it's actually pretty good, especially for the price. And by the way, Costco, if you're listening, a case of Kirkland Irish whiskey would be greatly appreciated. So Send one my way. All right. Trezy has figured out how to deal with the situation he was talking about with the 1 hour restriction. All right. Go here, he says. Head to the followers only mode section, third from the bottom. Boom, boom, boom. Where under connections? Set it to off. Profile. Would it be down at the bottom? Disabling? No. Profile settings. Twitch Prime. I'm not doing channel and videos. How about that? Auto hosting raids drops? No. Moderation? No. Help me, Trezy, Obi-Wan Kenobi. Was it under moderation? Yep, right there. Your channel's chat will automatically be deleted. Anyone would like to send messages to your must verify their 1 hour. Bingo. Off. That's what you're talking about, right, dude? Got it. Followers only mode. When enabled, viewers must follow you for a specified amount of time before they're allowed to post. Oh. Bingo. Hey, Zebby Geckos. Zebby's Gecko. My God, is this like a bunch of young people watching an old guy try to fish out the last goldfish from the goldfish box? I got to get me some more goldfish. Is that what you're doing? You watching? And by the way, technically, yes, I was born at the tail end of the baby boom generation. So, okay, boomer is painful but applicable. But I don't consider myself a boomer because I hate those selfish MFers. My entire life, I've been at the tail end of a bunch of narcissistic jackholes. I am not one. So if you need to call me anything, just say, okay, DP. It has the same effect. All right. It is. Look at that. Yes, Trezy. Sometimes the pig can find the truffle. Thanks to you and your guidance. I didn't even know that. And frankly, I set up this Twitch stream as a lark, and I spent all of 5 minutes maybe Googling on how to do it and stuff like that. So, like everything I do, I'm doing it wrong, but I'm doing it my way. And don't forget that. Back to the book. All right, so hopefully we've got that figured out. Zebaniasis, isn't that like some kind of skin disease? I hope not. Zebby's geckos. Hi, Zebby's geckos. And Zebaniasis. Yeah, I'm sorry. I think that's something you get by walking barefoot through a rice paddy. Anyway, welcome. I really love having you guys on this Twitch stream or Facebook Live or wherever you're coming from. I frankly don't know. Yeah, good. Zebby, thank you. Thank you, Zebby. And frankly, that's why I go by DP. What's my last name? Let me spell it for you. Knudten. Pronounce that to yourself 5 times fast. Knudten, Knudsen, Noodler, needed. How about just plain DP? Hey, I talked to DP. Oh, I know who you're talking to. Hey, I talked to David. Which David? That's literally why I go by DP. It's not an affectation, but really it kind of is. Sorry. All right, back to the book. So, I want to have a section on books about confidence. Things like confidence on screen, confidence on camera, confidence on microphone. Stuff like that. Reading list. Oh, I should come up with that. Podcast equipment. So all of a sudden, by adding these things, I am podcast art equipment. Yeah, well, it should be an art, but it's more like finger painting. But by coming up with these things, I'm adding to my book weight because my book is Rotoma. The first book I wrote is 214 pages. And I felt that it had to be at least 200 pages to be considered a book. We've all seen those piece of crap, 99-page, crapped it out over a weekend, blog post compilation books that are sold for $4.99 or 99 cents on Amazon. I was not going to play that game. In fact, if you go on Amazon right now, which you certainly can, you can get Rotoma, this bad boy, Rotoma, the ROI of social media top of mind, for somewhere around $20. I think $20.95 or something like that. Why $20 when everyone's selling books at $3.99, 99 cents, $4.99? I'm going to throw that to Trezy and say, why do developers sell their apps for 99 cents on for iPhone, stuff like that? Well, the answer is because early on, the app developers trained everybody that apps cost $1. The funny thing is, some developers are starting to train the audience that no, quality apps and software costs more than that. Now, I hate the software as or subscription as a software, software as a service. That's what it is. Software as a service, SaaS. I hate the SaaS model so much that I said goodbye to Adobe over the holidays because I was sick of paying $59 a month for the 3 apps that I used regularly and the occasional 4th app. And I started casting around for alternatives because I was using primarily Adobe InDesign. My number 2 was Adobe Photoshop. My number 3, which I barely touched, was Adobe Illustrator. And then my 4th was Adobe Premiere Pro for video editing. I didn't even use the, Audition, I think, the audio editing software they had because it was too pro level. I don't need pro level. I'm not a professional, as I prove every day. I'm not a professional. So I started looking around, and I had looked around in the past, and there just weren't any good software analogs to Photoshop, InDesign, and Illustrator. And then over the holidays, I stumbled across Affinity software. I think it's out of the UK somewhere. And they were having a sale on Affinity Publisher, Affinity Design, and Affinity's something else. I forget. But basically, it's their version of InDesign, Photoshop, and Illustrator for $49 for each one. So for $150, I could replace, or the equivalent of less than 3 months software as a service ripoff from Adobe, I could get the stuff I needed. Now, if I were a design pro, I definitely would want the Adobe stuff. But for me, I'm one step above Canva when it comes to creating graphics and stuff. My podcast, I create in Apple GarageBand, for crying out loud, which is free. So I don't need these hyper level pro quality tools that have way more. I'm not going to be editing in Dolby 5.1 sound. I'm not going to be editing in 4K probably ever because, my God, those files are huge. And then when I crunch them down to this, to 1080 by, 720, forget it. Why would I do that? So instead, I buy these 3 software packages for around $150. They are very, very similar. I mean, a lot of the key commands are the same. Why? Because I don't need Pro. I need 90+% of Pro, which is exactly what these software packages do. Oh, and by the way, Premiere Pro, Adobe Premiere Pro, it's been replaced by DaVinci Resolve, which is free. Again, they have a paid version of it for $300, so I might get the $300 Pro, all the bells and whistles version, because I'm okay with paying $300 once and then use it for 5 years. But I hate this nickel and dime thing over and over again. So, if you're like me, you can get 90% of Pro a lot of times for free or very affordably. So anyway, my book, $20 because it's worth it, darn it. And I would say I would go a little further had I had a little bit more of this fine Kirkland Irish whiskey. But for now, yeah, Audition is complex. That's a kind way of putting it. Yeah, it's if you are an audio nerd, you can go to town on that thing forever. But if you're like me and you just need to get stuff done, listen to my podcast and tell me it doesn't sound pretty darn good. Now, if you compare it to pro podcasts like the Gimlet Media stuff or, NPR, Radiolab, or This American Life, yeah, you're going to find differences in terms of quality. But if you listen to most other podcasts, you're going to go, wow, how do you make yours sound so good when theirs sound so lame? Ancient Chinese secret. Anyway, I digress, as is my wont. Back to the book. So, podcast, maybe it should be a software. How about that? Software and equipment. I want to keep the book evergreen, so I don't want to get too specific. If you say, oh, you definitely, let's say you're doing social media and you have a book that says, the hottest new thing in social media is Vine. Short 6-second videos, blah, blah, or whatever. The book's out of date because Vine doesn't exist anymore. The funny thing is TikTok's back, and it smells a lot like Vine, if you ask me. But anyway, where are we? So I've got a whole new section for my book that I did not have earlier today. And it's all because I captured these ideas some other time. Like here, if I go into presentation topics, some of these I've done, like Brand Say Cultures Do. I haven't done that one yet, but that's going to be a section in the book already. Creativity on Cue, that's a whole podcast or a whole, and you can see I've already created half the presentation right there. I've actually fleshed out this presentation, and it really helps people who don't have to be creative on a daily basis do that. Thank you, Trezy. Trezy says, let me get this out of the way. Trezy says, I do enjoy the Rotoma podcast sound. It's a lot thicker than most podcasts. It's wonderful and chewy, just the way I like my audio. I think I'm going to keep that, frame it, or maybe even get it tattooed on my arm because I love it that much. Thanks, Trezy. But anyway, podcasts, tremendous way to build and boost your personal brand. Plus, it's a great excuse to talk to people who are flying at a higher level than you and get them to come on your podcast. And guess what happens? When people hear you talking to someone flying at that level, what do they think? Oh, they must be peers. Just saying. Not everything I do is mercenary, just 99% of it. Back to the book. So again, I've captured a lot of these ideas over the years even. So concepts. Oh, I like this. Brand equals value plus values. That is golden. I'm telling you right there. Because a lot of people don't get what branding is. But especially when it comes to nonfiction branding or what I love to call or personal branding, if your brand is a combination of your value to others plus the values you live by, you are now telling a story about yourself that people can be attracted to or decide you're not for them. One of the best things you can do is become a scalpel, not a Swiss Army knife. Oh, I forgot. Oh, scalpel, Swiss Army knife. That's a whole section right in here too. What does that mean? What is a Swiss Army knife? I answer that question by saying a Swiss Army knife is a crappy knife, a crappy corkscrew, a crappy Phillips screwdriver, a crappy bacteria-laden toothpick, a crappy everything. And I'm a big one for if you can get pro level for 90% of pro level for cheap, go for it. Well, a Swiss Army knife is not that. But a scalpel, what is a scalpel? A scalpel is a purpose-built tool designed to do one thing and do it with excellence. Pat Flynn, who is going to be referenced in the book, always loves to say there's riches in the niches. Meaning, if you try to be all things to all people, you'll be nothing to everybody. But if you are very narrow in what you do and how you do it, like for example, Trezy, you're working in JavaScript. That's certainly popular, but it's not for everybody. It's not for every need. But if you're an expert in that, no one's coming to you for C++. Not that you couldn't do it, but that's not what you're known for. That's not what your center of excellence is. There are riches in the niches. So by being not everything to everybody, you actually save yourself a ton of time. If you don't like me in public just talking, why would I waste time on you? Why would you waste time on me? Let's agree not to have anything to do with each other. Great. You're one less person that I don't have to waste any time on. However, if we hit it off and you like what I do and you get what I do and I understand who you are and what you need, that is a recipe for success and satisfaction. Seriously, a friend of mine who's been on the Nonfiction Brand podcast, Kate Toon of Sydney, Australia, she is a Brit who moved to Australia, and she has a very distinct personality. Let's put it that way. I find it delightful, challenging, right on the tightrope between acceptable and too crass, which is, I like to walk on that tightrope as well. And one day, and you can listen to the podcast episode I did with her, I think it was the first time she was on the podcast, and I asked her, when did you decide to be 100% you online? And she said, I did it very early on because I was just tired of not being me. And what happened was people crawled out of the woodwork to work with her, to be associated with her, to take her workshops and courses because she was so refreshing. She was not a confetti-blowing woman who's talking about sisterhood. She was a brassy, ovaries to the wall, in your face, not afraid to take it to mansplainers in a huge way, woman. And her base has plenty of men, but a lot, I think it's primarily women, because she actually shows them that you can be a woman, you can be feminine, but you can also hit like a man and do it in a very respectful or respect-demanding way. I learned from her, and I said, well, you must have lost a lot of clients. She said, no. Clients come to me because of who I am, what I do, and how I do it. I went, oh. Did you catch that? That's learning. You just learned something. Maybe you already knew it. All right, so back to the book. You know what? I've been on here quite a while. Yeah, that's going to be trademark content. Just so you know, part of the contract is that my face has to be included on it. So, you know, if you're going to get it tattooed, says Trezy. Oh, my God, that's hilarious. Nancy Lewis Hill. Hey, Nancy, we didn't get a chance to talk at Social Media Marketing World other than me kind of saying hi. Nancy was a volunteer there, and they work them hard. Let me tell you. So let me say right now, hey, Nancy, so good to talk to you. We really need to connect via social, and I'm really glad that you found me here on my late night live stream. Well, it's not really late night. Well, it is late night for me. It's 9:28. That's late night because it's just late night. Me and Kirkland, me and me mate Kirkland need to spend a little bit more quality time tonight. Yes. Well, Nancy, let's connect via social this year, but let's make sure. And by the way, I'm really sorry to anybody who was at Molly Mahoney's kind of ad hoc get together after the end of Social Media Marketing World. I didn't blow you off. I forgot about it. Yeah, that's what happens when you're literally walking on fumes. Because after 3 days of Social Media Marketing World, I was wasted. And by the way, my friend Kirkland wasn't there, but his brother was. Anyway. Oh, cool. So Nancy, you're doing live streams as well? Very cool. And I got to tell you, you guys are warming my heart. Because I fully expected to sit out here, talk at my camera for a while, and then turn it off going, well, at least I did that. Because this is day 8 of my 301-day challenge. Nancy, I don't think you were probably on. Oh, thank you. I was missed. Yeah, well, I missed you guys for sure. But anyway, Nancy, I'm making this commitment to you and I mentioned it at the beginning of this live stream. After Social Media Marketing World this year, my friend, who you probably know, Nancy, Melanie Diesel, in 2018, there's a picture of her holding my book, which I gave her because I mentioned her in it as my social media spirit animal, and I wrote about her, so I gave her a copy. We have this great picture. This year, at 2020, she has a brand new book, her first book, which she produced at the same time she was producing her first little baby girl. What a woman. Melanie Diesel's book, Content Fuel Framework, which is great. If you have to create content on a regular basis, get this book because it gives you a framework for coming up with really breakthrough, out-of-the-box ideas. You know, not just out of the box, but, you know, flip off the box ideas. Really, really great. Anyway, she gave me this copy of the book, and we took a photo, and it ends up to be almost like a twin of the photo we took in 2018. She posted it up on Instagram, and I said, gauntlet thrown. Guess I need to have a new book by 2021. And then I started thinking, I've been thinking about writing this damn nonfiction brand book for a long time. And I even have the title, Nonfiction Brand, Discovering, Crafting, and Communicating the Completely True, Completely You brand you already are. That's going to be the title. I've even started playing around with the cover art of the book because you got to see it to be it. But I started thinking about I should really write a book so I can have a new one for Social Media Marketing World 2021, which I've already bought my ticket for. And then I get home and I start thinking about it okay, how many days are left between now and, say, January 1st of 2021? Why January 1st? Well, I'm going to self-produce it, self-publish it again via Amazon Kindle Direct Publishing, the way I did the first book. And you got to get them the files early enough so they can vet them, so they can make sure things are set up correctly and all that stuff. And then it has to, be turned into a web page on Amazon, and that takes time. So in spite of the fact that, Social Media Marketing World 2021 is going to be, February 28th, March 1st, March 2nd, something like that. So I figure 2 months for that process are needed. And besides, January 1st, 2021 is a good demarcation date. Well, I made the commitment in this first day 1 of 301 live streams that I was going to have a book done by January 1st, 2021. One of the reasons I did that was so that people like you can keep me honest. I didn't want to come on to do a live stream tonight but I had to because I made a commitment to you, my workout buddies. It's like joining a club and having a workout buddy. The day you don't feel like going, they do, and they make you get out of bed. And the day they don't want to go, you do the same for them. Well, you're kind of my virtual workout buddy that's going to help me get this damn book done. And every episode, I'm not just writing the book. Yeah, accountability is so important. Absolutely, Trezy. And I'm a deadline guy, too. Thank you. You like the title, Nancy? I love to hear that. Because the book is going to get done. But mostly because I'm committing to it in front of people. Because the one thing I will not do is fail publicly. I do it all the time in private. Just ask my wife. I mean, I think that's why she married me. But in public, I will strive to be the best that I absolutely can be. So that's why I'm going live stream here. I'm going to, again, I'm not writing every character, every sentence, every phrase, every chapter of the book live. But I am going to touch the book every single day live so you can see what I do and how I do it, because maybe you'll walk out of here with some inspiration. Maybe you'll walk out of here with some frustration that you know how to do it better in the right way, which is good, because if I'm doing it wrong and it inspires you to do it right, that's a win-win, right, baby? So anyway, I hope you all keep watching this when you see it come live. I hope you tell your friends, anybody who might be interested in writing a book, hey, seeing how other writers write is tremendously powerful for people, because if you think writers sit down with a yellow legal pad and a pencil and write the first word until they get to the last word, you are wrong. It's a painful, laborious, hair-pulling process. Sometimes it's really, really fun. Sometimes you're in a total state of flow. But a lot of time it's staring out the window, wondering, what can I do today just to move the ball forward? Well, my answer to that is make a commitment to people like you and actually do it. So anyway, I'm DP Knudten for the Nonfiction Brand podcast, which comes out every Monday. Episode 81 just came out 3 days ago with Nate Shields, a really cool guy. And also, Nonfiction Brandversity is my free Facebook group. Just ask to join. Just search Nonfiction Brandversity, ask to join, and you are in. It's not as active as I want it to be, and there may be some changes coming up to it. But for now, that's a place to join the greater community of people who want to build personal brands and small business brands that are completely, dare I say the word, authentic and truthful to who you are. One of the things I learned a long time ago, and in fact, the first section of the book is going to talk about this, is that when it comes to advertising and marketing, I am a nonfiction writer. I don't lie. I will polish things to a high sheen, and I have mastered the art of gleaming the turd, if you will. Remember that film, Gleaming the Cube? What was that, in the 80s? Skateboarding or surfing, something like that. Anyway, enough about that. I'm DP. Thanks for watching. Thanks for the help, Trezy, by the way. And Nancy, so great to see you on here. And also Zeby's Geckos, whatever. Nice to meet you as well. I'll talk to you guys later. Let's hear a little bit of the Nonfiction Brand theme music. You have a good night, Trezy. And I'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow comes